If you've ever felt that you were meant for more, this message is your confirmation. Because what you're about to discover isn't theory. It's a silent law that has guided every person who's ever achieved the impossible. A law that Napoleon Hill uncovered after studying the most successful minds on Earth, and that very few truly understand in its depth. Nothing in your life will change until you decide to believe as if it's already real. Hill said it clearly. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But there's a hidden part in that phrase most people ignore. It's not enough to imagine it. It's not enough to desire it. You must believe it. And you must believe it before there's any evidence, before the results appear, before anyone else sees it. Believing without seeing is like planting a seed in dry soil. You don't know if it will rain. You don't know if it will bloom. But you plant it anyway because you trust the law. And that trust, that deep conviction, is what separates those who stay dreaming from those who end up creating what others called impossible. Maybe right now you're fighting silently. Maybe everything in your life seems to move against what you dream of. And it's right there, at that intersection between faith and fear, where your destiny is defined. In this message, you'll discover how to awaken a faith so powerful that you won't need to see anything outside to feel certainty inside. You'll learn the exact principles Napoleon Hill used to build a new reality. How to erase the doubt that sabotages your days, and how to use your faith as a magnet to attract people, opportunities, and miracles. But above all, you'll understand why believing as if it's already real is the only way it will ever become real. It doesn't matter where you stand today. If you're willing to believe without guarantees, to act as if you already are that higher version of yourself, this message can change everything. Because the universe doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your faith. Everything that exists was once a thought. Before the wheel, there was an idea. Before skyscrapers, there was a vision. Before electricity, the phone, or the internet, there was a mind that dared to believe it was possible. Nothing around you would exist if someone hadn't imagined it first. That's what Napoleon Hill called the principle of creative thought. He understood something that science is only now beginning to prove. Your thoughts are waves of energy, and that energy creates form, not just ideas, not just concepts, but real physical outcomes. Because the mind isn't a box of memories. The mind is an antenna of creation. Think of Henry Ford when he said he would build an 8-cylinder engine in a single block. His engineers laughed. "That's impossible," they said. And Ford replied, "Do it. I don't care if you don't know how yet." He didn't need proof. He had a mental image, and he believed in it more than he believed in current reality. That's creative thought. And when you act from that state, reality has no choice. It must adapt. Ask yourself, are you using your mind to create, or only to remember what hasn't worked? Here's the brutal truth. If your thoughts are weak, your life will be weak. If your thoughts are reactive, your life will be a reaction, not a creation. But if your thoughts are directed, focused, and decided, the universe begins to align with you. Listen carefully. You don't need to know how. You just need to know what. Then believe it. Hold it. Nurture that image every single day until it becomes your dominant reality. Because when it's that real inside you, when it changes your posture, your voice, your energy, everything outside starts to move. Imagine you're lost at sea. Total darkness, but far away, there's a lighthouse. That light is your vision. And even when the waves hit, even when the winds try to push you away, you keep steering toward that light. That's what it means to think with power. That's what it means to use your mind as a creator, not a victim. And that light, if you don't abandon it, will always lead you home. The problem is, most people use their creative power to destroy themselves. They think about what they don't want. They imagine failure, repeat stories of lack, and then wonder why their life doesn't change. But it's simple. They're planting thorns and expecting roses. Hill said it over and over. The thoughts you plant in your mind are the harvest you reap. You can't plant doubt and expect certainty. You can't plant fear and expect power. What you think becomes what you attract, and what you hold becomes what you live. So look at yourself today without masks. What are you really creating with your mind? Are you sustaining images of faith, abundance, purpose, or letting yesterday's doubts shape tomorrow. Because when you start using your thoughts as instruments of creation, and you combine them with unshakable faith, you'll see things you once only dreamed about. But first, you must decide to believe, not because you see it, but because you know it. And deep down, you know this. You were created to create. Have you ever felt you were on the edge of something great, but right before taking the step, something inside you pulled you back? That whisper, what if it doesn't work? What if you fail? What if you look foolish? That's not intuition. That's doubt. And doubt, though it sounds logical, is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It speaks in the voice of your past failures. It tells you to wait a little longer, to play it safe. And slowly, it puts your potential to sleep. Hill said it bluntly. Doubt is the most dangerous mental state because it paralyzes action. And the worst part? It can live even inside people who believe in God, who have goals, who visualize, but don't fully believe in themselves. One day you decide to start something new. You feel excited, you see the vision, but the next morning, that little voice appears. And the excitement fades, not because you weren't capable, but because you let doubt win. Faith and doubt cannot coexist. They are fire and water. One consumes, the other extinguishes. If you carry more doubt than conviction, it doesn't matter how many affirmations you repeat. Your vibration is contradiction. And the universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you feel is true. Want to know if you truly believe? Watch your actions, not your words. Because when you really believe, you move differently. You speak with authority. You make aligned decisions. You act with certainty. If you're waiting to feel secure before acting, hear this with love. Security never comes first. Security is not a requirement. It's a result. Faith is not a divine gift reserved for a few. It's a mental decision cultivated by repetition, which means you can choose today to live without doubt. Not because everything is clear, but because you are. Remember, doubt is how fear disguises itself as logic. And if you listen to it, it will steal years from your life. But if you ignore it, it will open doors you never knew existed. You don't need all the answers. You don't need to understand every step. You just need one thing. Decide that you're going to make it, even if you don't know how. Because when you decide to believe, even when everything looks the opposite, you activate a force inside you that's stronger than any circumstance. That force is faith. Faith is not a gift. It's a construction. And like any construction, it needs design, material, and repetition. Faith is not about waiting to feel something. It's about training your mind until what you desire becomes more real than what you fear. Your mind is fertile ground. It doesn't matter what you planted before. Fear, scarcity, doubt. If you choose to plant something new today and nurture it daily, you will reap something new. That's mental programming. Hill called it autosuggestion, the mechanism through which you install ideas in your subconscious. And whatever lives in your subconscious governs your reactions, your choices, and your results. Here's how you do it in 3 steps. Declare what you want as if it's already real. I'm creating a life of purpose and abundance. Everything is aligning for my good. Repeat it aloud every morning and night with emotion. Visualize it as you speak. Don't just say it mechanically. Feel it as if it's done. Why does it work? Because the subconscious can't tell the difference between reality and an emotionally charged belief. Visualization is rehearsing success before it happens. Olympic athletes do it. Great entrepreneurs do it. Napoleon Hill did it. He recommended spending a few minutes each day with eyes closed, seeing your goal as already fulfilled, feeling it, hearing it, living it internally until it becomes inevitable externally. And there's one secret window almost no one uses, the last 5 minutes before sleep. In that state, your brain enters alpha. Your subconscious is most open to suggestion. What you repeat or imagine before bed becomes the seed of your next day. So don't fall asleep with worry. Fall asleep with programming. Your life begins the night before, when you plant the seed of the next day. I once knew a woman who spent years saying, "Nothing ever works for me. Nobody chooses me. Something's always missing. And that's exactly what she lived. Until one day, she changed her language. Everything works in my favor. I'm chosen by the best. I have everything I need. At first, she didn't believe it, but she persisted. Within 30 days, her decisions, emotions, and relationships began to shift. Why? Because she reprogrammed her faith through language. Here's the truth. One day isn't enough. 1 week isn't enough. What you don't repeat, you don't install. Your mind has been trained for years with fear and scarcity. Do you really think one isolated affirmation will undo that? This is re-education. And like any training, it takes discipline. But the results are worth every second. Imagine waking up every morning with direction. Your mind no longer sabotages you. Your words vibrate higher. Your energy attracts doors where you once saw walls. All because you decided to reprogram your faith. You are not what you inherited. You are what you repeat with intention. Reprogramming your faith is the most spiritual act you can do each day. Because when you truly believe, life responds. Not always with what you expect, but with what you need to reach where you said you'd go. Hill spoke of something intangible, yet always at work. An infinite intelligence that responds to your state of faith. Imagine faith as a code, a frequency that activates an invisible map. That map doesn't reveal itself before. It reveals itself as you walk. Have you ever noticed? You decide on something, and suddenly you meet the right person, find a perfect book, or see a sign made just for you. That's not coincidence. That's resonance. Life doesn't guide you randomly. It guides you according to your certainty. A young, unemployed man once wrote on a piece of paper, "I'm a best-selling author. My books change millions of lives." He taped it to his wall, read it daily, and believed it, even when no one else did. 5 months later, he met someone at a library who gave him his first publishing opportunity. Today, his books are read worldwide. That wasn't luck, it was faith in motion. You have that same map. It's just dormant until you believe. People who feel lost aren't without a path. They just haven't activated their faith to see the signs. Everything in this universe obeys one law. The internal precedes the external. If you believe, it manifests. If you doubt, it delays. That's why you can't wait to see before you believe. You must believe first, and then you'll see. Your brain is wired to find whatever matches your dominant focus. Scientists call it the reticular activating system. Ancients called it faith, the inner force that rearranges the outer world according to your dominant thought. So when your faith becomes clear, your world mirrors that clarity. The pieces move. The doors open. Timing accelerates. Faith is like walking through a dark forest with a flashlight. You only see a few steps ahead, but if you keep walking, more of the path appears. That's faith. You can't wait to see the whole path. You move first. And when you move, you discover it was always there, waiting for you to activate it. Your destiny isn't written. It's designed by your conviction. And if today you decide to believe boldly, prepare to watch people, opportunities, and miracles align with what you're creating. Because life isn't asking if you're ready. It's asking, do you believe enough to move? Every person with purpose faces a moment where everything seems to fall apart. Nothing flows, the doors close, the energy fades. That's where the soul faces its greatest decision. Do I give up? Or do I believe harder? Hill faced it too. He lost everything. He was betrayed, rejected, forgotten. But in the darkest moment, he found something not written in his books. Faith that doesn't depend on results. Not faith that feels good when life is easy. Faith that stands when life is hard. When a seed is buried in darkness, it isn't dying, it's germinating. And the same happens with you. Darkness isn't the end, it's the womb of your next version. But only if you don't run. Only if you believe anyway. Abraham Lincoln lost 8 elections before becoming president. He suffered financial ruin, heartbreak, public ridicule, but he never stopped believing. And that unshakable faith made him one of the most transformative leaders in history. Not because life favored him, but because he believed when no one else did. Maybe you're there now, tired, alone, uncertain. But this is your moment. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, this is the moment to decide. I will keep believing even when I see nothing yet, because that decision defines the rest of your story. The most powerful faith isn't the one that sees miracles. It's the one that precedes them. It's the faith that looks at a closed sky and still says, "Thank you, because I know you're working for my good." That faith opens doors logic never could. So lift your spirit, wipe your inner tears, and walk with more faith than ever before. Because if everything is shaking, it's not falling apart, it's falling into place. If you believe in silence, the universe will shout your answer. The dark day isn't the end, it's the prelude to the dawn. Now imagine this. What if you stopped waiting to become your best self and started living as if you already were? Because real faith isn't just believing in something, it's acting as if it's already yours. Hill said it beautifully. You must assume the mental attitude of the person you wish to become until that attitude becomes part of you. That's not fantasy, that's identity programming. It's the art of acting from certainty, not from lack. Imagine you're an actor. You're handed a role, confident, wise, powerful. Your job is to embody it, to walk, speak, and decide like that version. Do it long enough, and something happens, you stop acting. You become. Neuroscience confirms it. The brain doesn't distinguish between what's vividly imagined and what's real. Repeat the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of your higher self long enough, and that version becomes your new identity. So do this every day. Visualize your higher self every morning. How does that version wake up? Think and decide. Act accordingly. Ask yourself, how will my higher self respond? Change your language. Don't say I want. Say, I'm creating. Don't say it's hard. Say, I'm mastering it. Surround yourself with information, people, and energy that reinforce who you're becoming. Don't wait to feel ready. Start embodying the energy of what you desire. Because it's not see to believe, it's believe to become. A young man once looked in a mirror every morning and declared, "I'm successful." At first, it felt fake, but he didn't stop. He changed how he dressed, spoke, and moved. Months later, the world began to reflect it. Not because magic happened, but because he changed his identity and reality followed. Most people don't fail from lack of talent. They fail because they keep living from the identity of their past. They want a new life, but think with old beliefs. That never works. So decide now. Who are you starting today? Not based on your past or your mistakes, but on your highest vision. Let your faith live not just in your mind, but in your actions. Because when you live as your future self, the world starts treating you like it. Hill revealed something few ever teach. In his darkest hours, he met something he called his other self. It wasn't an external voice, it was an inner intelligence, a deeper consciousness that only appeared when he believed beyond fear. You have that too. That intuition that whispers, not shouts. That quiet voice that says, keep going. Don't stop. Everything's about to change. But there's a condition. It only appears when you act from faith, not from need. From power, not from fear. How do you activate it? Silence. Your higher self doesn't speak over noise. Create space. Writing. Ask on paper, what I need to know today. Then write whatever flows. Courage. Every time you act in alignment, that voice grows stronger. You're not alone. You never were. Inside you lives a wiser, bolder, more powerful version waiting for your trust. And when you finally let it lead, you stop needing validation because you finally know who you are. Most people pray from lack. God, please give me this. Universe, please help me with that. But when you pray from need, you're declaring that you don't have. And the universe only mirrors your vibration. Hill understood. You don't manifest from desperate desire. You manifest from inner certainty. When you truly believe, you no longer beg, you thank. And gratitude is the signature of someone ready to receive. Think about it. You walk into a cafe and say, if it's okay, can I maybe get a coffee? You transmit uncertainty. But if you walk in with confidence and say, a coffee, please, thank you. The same request, different vibration, different response. So each morning, instead of asking, declare, Thank you because my business is thriving. Thank you because I'm guided. Thank you because I am abundant. Feel genuine gratitude, not as a trick, but as a celebration in advance. Don't wait for signs to move. Move, and the signs will appear. The most powerful faith doesn't need evidence. Its only proof is the peace felt before the miracle happens. That peace is the frequency of creators. It's the secret language of manifestation. Stop asking from emptiness. Start thanking from certainty. Believe. Give thanks. Receive. Because everything you desire already exists. It's just waiting for you to become the one who can hold it. Faith is a muscle, and if you don't train it, it weakens. What you do each day with your mind, words, and energy determines whether your faith expands or dissolves. Hill discovered that the most successful people didn't only use faith in crisis. They cultivated it daily as a sacred habit. So here's a simple but powerful daily ritual you can practice in 10 minutes. One that can completely reprogram your mind if done with consistency. The 3-step ritual, morning and night. Upon waking, program your vibration. Before touching your phone, sit in silence and declare aloud. Thank you because this day is already blessed. My mind is aligned with greatness. Everything I need is already manifesting. Say it with power, not as a routine, but as truth. Then visualize your perfect day for 1 minute. Feel it as if it's already happening. Before sleeping, reprogram your subconscious. Repeat your affirmations. Thank life for 3 things as if they already happened. Thank you for the abundance flowing in my life. Thank you because I'm stronger and guided each day. Thank you because I'm at peace with what I am and what's coming. Feel it, then fall asleep with that energy. During the day, correct your frequency. If you catch yourself doubting, complaining, or fearing, pause. Breathe. Say softly, I adjust. I return to certainty. Declare, everything is aligning for me. You don't need perfection, only awareness. Each correction strengthens your faith. Transformation doesn't come from what you do once. It comes from what you repeat with intention until it becomes who you are. This ritual isn't magic. It's spiritual training. And if you do it for 21 days straight, you'll start to feel a new energy, quiet, unstoppable. That's faith. It's invisible at first, but once it's built, it changes everything. You came here for a reason. Something in you refuses to settle. Something inside is awakening. If anything in this message resonated, it wasn't coincidence. It was the Napoleon inspires activating within you. Everything you seek isn't outside. It's in your faith. Not the faith you inherited, the faith you choose to build. Every thought, every word, every decision is a brick in the reality you're creating. Faith isn't a wish. It's a stance. It's an identity. And today, right here, you decide who you'll be. The version that waits for signs, or the version that becomes one. If this message awakens something inside you, leave a comment and share it with someone who needs it. Because this isn't just a channel. It's a movement. The Napoleon inspires. And if you're here, it's because your soul has already started to remember it.